Good morning. I thought I would take today to tell you all about my running. Now, if you have followed my other channel, you know last year I ran a marathon and I kept you all updated throughout all of my little monthly catch-ups. But today I thought I would kind of go through everything that I do for running. I am half marathon training at the moment, so we're going to be talking about what my runs look like, what I wear, when and how I run, what I eat, that sort of thing. So we're going to start by talking about when and where I run. Now today is very different because Allison has VBS this week. So I dropped her off and I came down to one of the bike paths, and I don't do this very often because I run around my neighborhood mostly, but to be able to get out to a place that's nearby her VBS, and I mean, look at this place, it's amazing. And I saw a deer just a few minutes ago, probably a quarter mile away from me. It was just slowly walking, and it's just so quiet back here. It is wonderful. But usually I do my running around the neighborhood just because it's easy. There's lots of sidewalks and things, and in the summertime it's hard for me to get out because John works Allison's home. John goes into work at 6 and doesn't usually get home till about 5. So this summer I've actually been running early in the morning. I'm talking so John goes for a walk at 4 a.m. He comes back around 5. So at 5 o'clock, I go out running for 30 minutes. And that gives him enough time to go shower, eat breakfast, and get ready to leave for work. So it is kind of a delicate balance because I've got appointments in the evening as well. I can't just run in the evening, and plus it is super hot, so usually the early morning is the way to go. But then when Allison's in school, I can obviously wait until she gets on the bus and I just go straight off running. Now, different things that I have with me. I've got my earbuds. I always keep one ear open no matter whether it's on the neighborhood, whether it's on the bike path, because you need to be able to hear, especially on the bike trails, because people riding bikes, when they pass you, they're supposed to say, coming up behind you. If I have both earbuds in, I can't hear that. And I'm trying to figure out there we go. So I'm wearing really neon colored clothes and that helps people to see me better when I go running in the early morning like that. I have a flashlight. I mean, thankfully a lot of people have their street light or their house lights, little street lights on. So that helps, but always flashlights. And then it's always interesting running that early in the morning because I saw a deer right here, which was amazing. But around my neighborhood, you get things like skunks and raccoons, and John apparently saw a fox a couple of times. So that's all, you just never know what you're gonna find there. So I just finished up a 30-minute run. I'll show you my schedule when I get home, but typically for my training, I do 2 30-minute runs throughout the week and then a long run on the weekends. So this is my 30-minute run. I have to keep pausing and coming back to talk because I keep passing people, and I'm sure I look really weird talking to myself in front of a camera. But usually right after a run, I go cool down and stretch. I will wait until I get home to do that. All right, in the car now, getting ready to head home, stretch it out, shower, that sort of thing. Now let's talk about food for a second. When do I eat? And the answer is it really just depends on when I'm running and how long I'm running. So if I'm doing my 30-minute run at 5 a.m., I don't eat anything beforehand. I have my coffee, but that is it. And then I'll come home, shower, all that stuff, and then I'll have breakfast afterward, usually around 6:30 or so. If I am doing a shorter run, but later in the morning, I would say 7 or so, then I will kind of eat a smaller breakfast beforehand. And that's typically pancakes or banana bread, baked oatmeal, something that's full of carbs that will help give me some energy. And then if I am doing a long run, no matter what time it is, I will eat something. Again, pancakes, baked oatmeal, something like that. And then if I'm running, right now, it was 9 o'clock when I started my run. I usually eat a snack between 9 and 9:30. So that's what I'll do, is I'll just have a quick snack afterward. And I try to make sure it has some protein and some carbs in it. So what I have is a Nature Valley protein bar. This is the peanut butter dark chocolate. So there's like 10 grams of protein, there's carbs in it, there's some sugar, so it's gonna help restore all that I lost. I have water here as well. So I'm gonna drive home in this air-conditioned car, and then I'm gonna go stretch. Okay, next up is stretching. I do this every time I run, no matter how long it is, whether it's only 30 minutes, whether it is 6 miles, what have you. Now, I do warm up every time as well, even if it's just 30 minutes, because if you just go out and start straight up running, you are more likely to cause an injury. So my warm up, it's really easy. It's just like maybe 5 minutes of doing things like squats and some lunges, some active stretching. So I'm not like holding a stretch like this. I might be like flowing into it, coming back out, and then down into it, and then back out. So I'm actively working it, trying to get the muscles warmed up. That way I don't injure them. And I think that might be how I injured my hamstring back in the day. It probably also didn't help that I was running on the treadmill during that time as well, because treadmill running is way different than running in the streets. So I had like a hamstring injury, but you know, I also wasn't warming up properly. I wasn't cooling down properly. I've learned a lot since then. So yeah, warm up for a few minutes and then also stretching it out afterward. One thing you really want to start stretching, both before and after, is your hip flexors. Just because when you're running, you're using those muscles to propel your legs forward. And my chiropractor has told me that. I go once a month just for some maintenance work to make sure that my hamstring and hip don't start hurting on me again. And one of the things he said, yeah, you need to start focusing on your hip flexors, like right in here. So one way that I've been trying to stretch out is basically a lunge, kind of like this. You got your leg forward, your other leg is back, and you can really feel the stretch and your hip flexor right there. So just like that. And then pretty cool for me, eventually I was able to start doing the splits. Now I'm not very good at it yet, but I am almost there. So that's basically what I'll do. I will stretch it out like that for about 5, maybe 10 minutes or so, take a shower, and that is basically it. Now, still gotta stretch it out here. I follow the Jeff Galloway method, and Jeff Galloway, he came up with the run walk method, which is, so you run for a certain amount of time, and then you walk for a certain amount of time. And the numbers, it just depends on your own personal preference. So as an example, when I first started out, I was doing like 1 minute of running and 30 seconds of walking, just to see how that was. I didn't start doing that until last year when I did my marathon training. When I did my other halves back in 2018, I just ran the whole way. And part of that too may have been why I injured myself, just because I wasn't taking care of myself properly. These walking breaks really, really help. During my marathon last year, I did 4 minutes of walking and 4 minutes of running and 30 seconds of walking throughout the entire marathon, save like the last few miles, which we just walked the whole way. But you know, that seemed to do really well for me. That 30-second break was just enough to help me like catch my breath, to prepare myself mentally for the next 4-minute block. And everybody is different. I know some people that will run for 1 mile and then walk for 30 seconds to a minute. I knew someone who ran for 3 minutes and walked for 1 minute. You just have to find what works for you, and don't let anybody tell you that it's cheating. Run, walk, it is not cheating. You are finding what works for you, and you know, we all make it across the finish line no matter what. So you're still a runner even if you take walking breaks like I do. So let's see. Let's talk about food as well. So I talked already about the food that I eat like beforehand, if I eat afterward or not. Let's talk about during the run. Now, once you start running longer distances, you're going to need something to help fuel you throughout it. Typically, if you're running 30 minutes, maybe even a little less than an hour, you don't typically need anything. If you like to bring water with you, obviously do that. If I am running for 30 minutes, I don't bring water with me unless I run in like 90-degree weather, which I had to last year for my marathon training. Running 30 minutes in 90-degree weather, it does take a lot out of you. So I did bring water for that. But typically for 30 minutes, I don't. If I run upwards of an hour or so, I will bring water. And then anything after that, it is suggested that you start fueling. And that could be like drinking some Gatorade to replenish some of your electrolytes. It could also be consuming some sort of food. Now, I'm not a running expert, I'm not a running coach or anything, so like I really can't give specifics, but you have to find what works for you, again. And there's no set mileage that you need to start fueling. They recommend like after about an hour and a half, if you're gonna be running at least that long or longer, that you start fueling. So for me, so this past weekend, I did 6.5 miles. So anywhere between 6.5 to 7 miles is when I start bringing food with me. I'll bring water up until that point and maybe even some Gatorade. But when I hit that kind of a mileage, then I will start bringing stuff. So I'll show you more later. But as an example, for me, I try to fuel every 3 miles or so if I'm doing like a really long run. And for me, 3 miles is about 40 minutes because my pace is like 13:30 per mile, which is really slow, which is fine with me. So if you're a faster runner, you may wait every 4 or 5 miles, just whatever you feel like you need. The idea is to get food in you before you start to feel tired, because by then it's kind of too late. So that kind of food could be, I use jelly beans because jelly beans are really quick sugar. Some people use like gels. They make gels that you can just take or whatever. It gives you a bunch of sugar electrolytes. I also bring Gatorade at that point. I used to do peanut butter M&Ms because they were so good. But I realized that the peanut butter M&Ms were not doing so much to fuel me. The fat was nice, the sugar from the peanut butter and stuff helped, but the jelly beans, I feel like, gave me that boost of energy much faster and allowed me to go on much further. So that's kind of what I take. I'm gonna go shower now. I think I am properly stretched out. So after I shower, I will show you all of the equipment that I use for my runs. And here is what my training schedule looks like. Now, honestly, I just went to Canva, which is a website where you can like create images and tables and stuff like this. I took one of their templates and just kind of made it my own. So I am training for the Columbus half this year. I did the full marathon last year and loved it so much, I wanted to go back to Columbus for it. So, this is the Jeff Galloway training plan, by the way. So he only does 2 30-minute runs and then 1 long run. So you're only running 3 days a week, which really works for me as a busy mom who doesn't have a lot of time. So anyway, this half marathon training plan is 17 weeks, which can be a lot, but it is perfect for me. So anyway, so you have day 1, day 2, all of those are 30 minutes, basically no matter what. Day 3 will be your long run, and I typically do those on Saturdays, sometimes on Fridays if we are doing something on Saturday. And the thing about the Jeff Galloway plan is it kind of goes back and forth with the long runs. So like week 1, it's 3 miles, and then 4 and 5. And then when you get to week 4, you can see it goes down to 2.5 miles. So it kind of lowers that mileage. But then the week after that, it is 6.5. And then it goes down to 3 and then 8. So it just kind of goes back and forth there from lower mileage to high mileage. And it's all to prepare you for this half marathon. And what he does is he actually takes you past the half marathon point. So 2 weeks before the half marathon, he has you run 14 miles, and a half marathon is 13.1. So that's just to kind of get you ready and to say, hey, you know, if I can do 14, I mean, this half marathon, I mean, I've already basically done it, so it's going to be awesome. But yeah, this is my training plan. Another thing about training plans, I have found that with my brain and how it works, if I don't have a training plan, like I don't run. If I don't have a race that's already scheduled, I don't see the point in running. I wake up and I'm like, okay, well, how long am I supposed to run? How long should I run? Do I even need to run? Like, I love doing it, but apparently I have to have a race scheduled and with a training plan, otherwise I just won't do it. And maybe you guys are the same way, but it's just how you get started with running, and then eventually you'll get addicted to it like I did. So the last thing I will show you is the gear that I take with me when I run. I will talk about shoes first because you need to have actual running shoes, okay? And there are actual running shoe stores out there. I have at least a couple in my area. And if you know nothing about running shoes, like, don't worry, the people that work there, they know a lot and they can help you. A lot of them have a treadmill that you can like run on, and they will kind of look at your form and say, okay, like maybe you pronate a little bit when you run, so you need this kind of shoe, or maybe you need this kind of shoe. There are so many different types. And what they can also do, like if you're already a runner or if you're a walker or whatever, they can look at the bottom of your shoe and say, okay, yeah, there's more wear and tear on this side, so you need this type of shoe. So the lady who I went to last time said that I needed what was called a neutral type shoe. And I don't know what all that stuff means. Like I said, I'm not a running coach or anything, but the brand that I buy, I don't even know if it's on here. It's called the Saucony brand. I don't know how you pronounce it, but that's just how I pronounce it. But this brand of shoe has been with me for years and years. Like when I first started running, the Saucony brand was just the first one that I found, and I love them. And they come out with, you know, newer styles every year or so. And it's recommended that you switch out shoes every 500 to 600 miles, or if you notice like noticeable wear and tear. If you try to run in really old shoes, you're gonna start to feel it. You might feel some knee pain while you're running, maybe like some ankle or shin pain, and a lot of it is because you need new shoes. So keep track of how long you run. I have not been doing that, unfortunately, but you know, write it down somewhere. Every time you run 3 miles, write that down. And when you get closer to like the 500-ish mark, maybe think about getting some new ones. The prices vary, like between $80 to $200 plus. These ones were about $140, so it can be kind of expensive, but you need good shoes if you're gonna be running long distances. And I don't buy regular shoes anymore because when I retire these from running, I'm just going to use these as walking shoes. And then I'm just going to repeat the cycle. So whenever I buy a new pair of running shoes, my old running shoes will then turn into walking shoes because they're just fine to walk in. But you know that running is a lot different than walking. It uses different muscles, but they're still really good for walking. So I kind of save money that way by not buying new walking shoes. Now, as far as like holding things, I use two different accessories depending on how long I'm running. If I am doing just like a short distance, 30 minutes or so, and I don't need to bring any water with me, this is what I bring. This is a phone holder, and what you do is like you put your phone inside the little pocket here. It's got a screen right here. It's a touch screen actually, so like you can still do stuff on your phone, and it attaches to your arm just like this. And then it's got Velcro on it, so it will just Velcro onto your arm, and you hold it, and it holds it just like this. So you can run. There's also a spot that you can hold, I think, like your earbud cords if you have them. You can even probably like stick your car key or something in here. Like if you're going out running on the trails like I did, just stick your key in here too, and that way you'll have that to get back into your car. So this is what I use for like my standard just quick runs. Now if I'm going to be running longer and if I need water or anything, I have this belt right here, and this belt, it's basically a waist belt and it has two little places here for little water bottles. This one comes with the bottles, and depending on how long I'm running, I will either fill them both with water, or maybe one with water, one with Gatorade. If I'm running longer distances, I will keep larger bottles of the water and Gatorade right outside my front door. So like every 3 miles or so, I can come back, I can refill the bottles and then go on. I don't have to worry about carrying those big bottles. And then I can put my phone in this pocket right here. I have an empty bag from the last time I ran. But yeah, you can easily fit your phone in here and any fuel that you have. So jelly beans, food, whatever, keys. You can put all of that in there. And this is super handy because that way you don't have to hold on to anything. You can fit a lot in here. I use this for all of my half marathons, my marathon. It has lasted me quite a while. Now I'm going to leave affiliate links down below for all of this stuff if you wanted to go check it out. If you are a runner, if you're not, if you are thinking about doing it. Those are just some of the basic things that I like. So I think I answered all of your questions. Throughout last year during all of my training, I know I got a bunch of questions here and there, and hopefully I answered all of them in one place. If there's anything I did not talk about, leave a comment down below. I will answer them to the best of my ability. And my half marathon for Columbus is in October. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but when it gets closer, I will let you all know. Last year, you guys were able to track me live as I was running, and I gave out my Google phone number so you all could text me with like encouraging things, and I plan to do that again. So pay attention. I will let you guys know when it gets closer to October. So thank you all for watching. I was so happy to share all of my running stuff with you today. Have a great day. I will see you later.